Almost every cat owner makes the same feeding mistakes without realizing they are slowly harming their pet. Every single year, veterinarians raise the alarm. Thousands of cats end up in clinics suffering from obesity, urinary stones, or chronic kidney failure. And no, the cause is usually not genetics. It's also not just about which brand of food you buy. The real problem is much more basic, and at the same time far more dangerous. It's about how you feed your cat, where you place the bowl, and how little water your cat actually drinks. What's truly shocking is this. Every one of us has made these mistakes. Me, you, every loving cat owner. Today, Shelf Truth reveals 8 hidden feeding mistakes that silently destroy your cat's health, create stress, and can shorten their life. And believe me, by the time we reach mistake number 5, you'll realize you're probably making it every single day. Let's start with the most common and seemingly harmless mistake of all. You fill the food bowl to the top thinking, my cat should never be hungry. You go to work feeling responsible and caring, but in reality, you've just placed a time bomb under your cat's health. The always full bowl approach is a direct path to obesity, and obesity in cats, just like in humans, leads to diabetes, heart disease, and severe joint damage. A cat is not a grazing animal that needs to snack all day long. In the wild, their ancestors eat 10 to 15 times a day, but only tiny portions. A mouse, a small bird. Every meal must be hunted. Energy is spent to gain energy. What do we do instead? We serve an unlimited buffet and turn a natural hunter into a bored, constant eater. The cat no longer eats out of hunger, but out of boredom or stress, simply because the bowl is always there. The hunting instinct fades, the metabolism slows down. This isn't love. This is training your cat to depend on food. The correct approach is a clear rhythm, small portions, 3 to 4 times a day. This mimics natural feeding behavior, keeps the metabolism active, and restores the true value of food. An empty bowl is not a disaster. An empty bowl is normal. It ensures your cat eats when it's hungry, not when it's just bored. You stand in the pet store and see a giant bag labeled for all adult cats. Convenient, right? You think you've found a universal solution that perfectly fits your cat. And at that exact moment, you fall into a marketing trap. The truth is simple. A universal food for all cats does not exist. And understanding this is critical to your cat's health. A kitten is not just a smaller cat. It's a growing organism that needs nearly twice the calories, significantly more protein, and more calcium to build bones and muscle. Feeding adult food to a kitten risks serious developmental problems. An older cat, on the other hand, has a slower metabolism, moves less, and requires food with reduced calories and phosphorus to avoid overloading aging kidneys. But the most important factor that nearly 90% of owners ignore is neutering. After the procedure, hormone levels change permanently. Energy needs drop by almost 1/3 while appetite increases. If you continue feeding regular food, weight gain is almost guaranteed, and the risk of urinary stones rises dramatically. That's exactly why food formulated for neutered cats exists. This is not a marketing trick. It's a necessity. Add to that breed and individual health needs. Long-haired cats benefit from anti-hairball formulas. Sensitive cats need hypoallergenic recipes, and cats with kidney issues require special diets. When choosing food, don't think about the brand. Think about your specific cat. Age, lifestyle, and health condition all matter. A one-size-fits-all approach almost always leads to expensive vet bills later. You place a water bowl, change the water regularly, and think your job is done. But have you ever truly watched how little your cat actually drinks? This isn't because they don't want to drink. It's because their body is not genetically designed for active drinking. And this lack of awareness leads to one of the most dangerous mistakes of all. The ancestors of our domestic cats were desert animals. They evolved in regions with extremely limited water and learn to get almost all of their moisture from prey. Mice and small reptiles are made up of 70 to 80% water. The sensation of thirst, as we experience it, is very weak in cats. They only drink when serious dehydration has already begun. And this is where dry food becomes a silent killer. Its moisture content is around 10%. If you feed your cat exclusively dry food, you shift the responsibility of replacing the missing 70% of water entirely onto them, but they won't do it. Their instincts don't allow it. Day after day, their body operates in a state of chronic dehydration. The consequences are severe. Urine becomes highly concentrated, crystals form and develop into painful urinary stones. At the same time, the kidneys are heavily strained because they must filter this thick, concentrated fluid. Over the years, this leads to chronic kidney disease, the most common cause of death in cats over the age of 7. If you feed dry food, you must actively encourage drinking. Place multiple water bowls, use drinking fountains, and most importantly, integrate wet food into the diet. Even 1 pouch of wet food per day can stabilize hydration and protect your cat's kidneys from slow but certain damage. You buy a new super premium food, convinced by glowing reviews. You fill the bowl expecting your cat to love it. Instead, your cat ignores the food or reacts the next day with vomiting and diarrhea. What happened? You made a mistake that isn't just expensive, but also puts massive strain on your cat's digestive system. Your cat's gastrointestinal tract is like a highly specialized factory. Its enzymes and gut bacteria are adjusted over months and years to a very specific composition. When you suddenly throw a completely new product into that system, production comes to a halt. The body simply doesn't know how to process the new food. That's why an abrupt food change almost always causes stomach problems. For the cat, this doesn't just mean physical discomfort, but also stress. The familiar, safe food suddenly becomes associated with pain. This quickly creates a negative connection with eating itself, which can lead to extreme pickiness over time. The correct approach is the 7-day rule, recommended by veterinarians. For the first 2 days, you mix 75% of the old food with 25% of the new. On days 3 and 4, it's 50-50. On days 5 and 6, the meal is mostly the new food, and only on day 7 do you complete the full transition. This gentle change gives the digestive system time to adapt, shift enzymes, and avoid stress. It takes more effort than simply opening a new bag, but it's the only way to ensure that better food actually improves health instead of creating new problems. You set up what you believe is the perfect feeding spot for your cat in the kitchen. The food bowl is there, and right next to it, conveniently placed, is the water bowl. From a human perspective, this makes perfect sense. From a cat's perspective, it's a serious mistake that directly contradicts ancient instincts. In nature, cats never drink where they eat. Prey can contaminate water sources and make them dangerous. This instinct is so deeply rooted that it remains active even after thousands of years of domestication. When food and water bowls are placed directly next to each other, you unknowingly force your cat into a choice: eat or drink. And more often than not, the cat chooses food and ignores the water. The result is once again dehydration and additional strain on the kidneys. The problem becomes even worse when bowls are placed near the litter box or inside a bathroom. Imagine being served dinner in a restroom. For cats, which are among the cleanest animals in the world, this isn't just unpleasant, it's deeply disturbing. They will either eat and drink less or begin avoiding the litter box and look for a place that feels cleaner. The solution is simple but critical. Food, water, and the litter box must be physically separated. Ideally, they should be placed in different corners of the room or even in different rooms altogether. The distance between food and water should be at least a couple of feet, preferably more. Often, moving a bowl just a few steps is enough to significantly improve drinking and eating behavior. Your cat sits next to you, looking up with big, pleading eyes while you eat. Almost automatically, Your hand reaches for a piece of sausage, cheese, or you pour a little milk into the bowl. What harm could one small bite do? In that moment, you believe you're doing something kind. In reality, you're giving your cat poison. Human food is not made for cats. A cat's digestive system is designed for an obligate carnivore, adapted to raw meat, not heavily processed foods. Even a small piece of sausage is a salt and fat bomb that overloads the kidneys and can trigger pancreatitis. And milk? This children's book myth is one of the cruelest misconceptions of all. Most adult cats are lactose intolerant. A bowl of milk almost always results in diarrhea, abdominal pain, and stress. And it doesn't stop there. Chocolate, onions, garlic, and grapes are deadly toxins for cats. Fatty, fried, sweet, or heavily salted foods slowly damage the liver, kidneys, and intestines. The harm isn't always immediate, but it accumulates. Every small bite becomes another building block for future chronic disease, allergies, and intolerances. If you want to reward your cat, choose high-quality treats specifically designed for cats, but never share food from your plate. Love should never be the cause of suffering. Your cat meows and you give a treat. She rubs against your legs. Another treat. You feel guilty because you don't have much time. And the moment you get home, the first thing you do is fill the food bowl. Food becomes the easiest way to say, I love you. And this is where the biggest trap lies. When attention, closeness, and play are replaced with food, that isn't love. It's a psychological mistake that damages both your cat's body and mind. Cats learn quickly. To get attention, they demand food. Meowing becomes manipulation. The outcome is predictable: obesity, dependency, and a life that revolves entirely around the bowl. Natural instincts are no longer expressed through play and hunting. This leads to boredom, stress, and eventually problematic behaviors like aggression, destruction, or apathy. 10 minutes of active play with a feather wand gives your cat more emotional satisfaction than the best treat ever could. She moves, fulfills her hunting instinct, and spends real time with you. Your cat doesn't love you because you feed her. She loves you because you are her family, her safety, her play partner. Stop using food to soothe your guilt. The best way to say I love you isn't a full bowl, it's shared time. Proper feeding isn't a detail, it's the most fundamental form of care. And when you speak this language of responsibility, you give your cat the most valuable gift of all: a long, healthy, and happy life. If this video made you think, support Shelf Truth with a like and a subscription. Together, we can make our cats' lives better.